Senator Cassidy.
I defer to Senator Marshall.
Right. Thank you, Senator Cassidy and Chairman. Certainly agree with everybody here that child care is a significant problem. It's nothing new in rural America. It's now flooded over to urban America. I think I've shared before with this committee the toughest part of my marriage I remember is working 36-hour shifts as a resident. My wife, the nurse, working 12-hour shifts with 2 preschool kids. Running a hospital, running a medical practice, child care was always a major issue, of course, for nurses. We've, did a big round table at Kansas State University 3 or 4 years ago trying to bring in the best minds and what we could do and not do. Beyond that, I think I did a dozen round tables this last week, and at every one of those round tables, urban and rural America, this issue was brought up. I think what's interesting is each community has their own way to solve it, and it's so hard for me to sit here and say this is one size that's going to work for everybody. And even just hearing everybody's ideas up here, it's next to impossible to figure out what would work best. Probably the best solution I've seen is Salina, Kansas took their YMCA and did a co-op there. So they had an underutilized resource during the day, and different businesses we're going to pay for a share, like 5 spots, 7 spots, 10 spots, whether they used them or not. So when you're running this co-op, you would at least have a fixed income. So that was a very unique idea. I want to talk about the 45Q tax credit, though. I'm hoping some of y'all are familiar with this, but I think it's an opportunity for small businesses, but it's very tight what you can use it for or not use it for. But by expanding the 45F tax credit, I think it gives more flexibility to those people, those small businesses. Ms. Lucas, are you familiar with the 45F at all?
Not really, I'm sorry to say.
Ms. Laren, are you familiar with it?
Yeah, GAO looked at use of the child care tax credit by employers a few years ago, and we found the take-up rate was very low. And there are a number of reasons for that low usage. I think, for one thing, it's employers aren't really aware of the tax credit,
right?
And it remains very expensive to provide child care to employees. But it is an option that's available to employers that is underutilized at this time.
What would you do to expand it to make it more user-friendly? Any thoughts?
You know, we didn't make any recommendations around that. When we did the work, we were really looking at the use of the credit and challenges to using it.
Right. Anybody else on the panel familiar with 45F? Okay. All right. Thank you. I yield back.
Thank you. Senator